Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ag Innovation News Podcast, presented by the Agricultural Utilization Research Institute of Minnesota. I'm Dan Scogan, your host for the Ag Innovation News Podcast. Guests on the Ag Innovation News Podcast will shed light on innovations in value-added agriculture, will highlight important voices and work that's being done throughout the Minnesota ag sector, and educate the public about resources and organizations that support Minnesota agriculture. Today, we'll be visiting with Lisa Gjersvik and Jen Wagner-Lahr about AURI's work with the USDA Ag Innovation Center program. Lisa is the Senior Director of Strategy Management at the Agricultural Utilization Research Institute and leads the development and implementation of AURI's strategic plan. She's also in charge of reviewing the external effectiveness of AURI programs, gathering organizational impacts, including reports to the state of Minnesota and grant administration. Jen Wagner-Lahr is the Senior Director of Business Development and Commercialization and oversees projects in partnership with Agricultural Utilization Research Institute staff members, commodity groups, state and federal agencies, and other collaborators and stakeholders that fulfill the AURI mission and advance value-added agricultural products within Minnesota. Recently, AURI was awarded a USDA Ag Innovation Center program grant, and today we're going to learn more about that grant, the purpose, the planned outcomes, and the partnerships that might be constructed around this new program. Lisa, I think I'll start with you. Just welcome you to the podcast and ask if you could give us a little background on USDA Ag Innovation Center program.
The Ag Innovation Center program through the USDA Rural Development is a program that was created for providing technical and business development assistance to agricultural producers seeking to develop or market value-added agricultural products.
That's a pretty broad spectrum of opportunity, I think, in the program. Jen, maybe you can tell us a little more about how the AIC fits into AURI's mission of fostering long-term economic benefit for Minnesota through value-added agricultural products.
Sure. So our center is focused on serving producers in the state of Minnesota and also the surrounding regions as they're looking to commercialize their value-added agricultural products. So as you can see, I brought a couple terms up that are already very much in our mission. Value-added agricultural products is our focus, and this grant fits really nicely into that mission. It is an extension of our mission in terms of expanding our support to producers versus small businesses. Although we've been providing services to producers since the starting of AURI. This project in particular allows us to add a couple additional service areas, which we haven't been able to do in the past, which are of great interest to producers. Particularly, we're adding a market research analyst and also a biomass feedstock business development director. So these additional services will be offered to producers as they're bringing value-added agricultural products to the market, but we're also bringing our full suite of services to the table. So we have a lot of other experts across the organization that will also be available to serve producers as part of this program.
I think you make a good point, Jen. Entrepreneurs are not necessarily producers, and producers are not necessarily entrepreneurs, but here is an opportunity where maybe we will see those lines cross a little more.
Right. There are entrepreneurial producers out there that are looking for ways to move out of commodity markets into more of the niche marketplaces. And it really can span a lot of different market opportunities from food, but also renewable energy and bio-based products.
I think we're going to circle back and talk more about some of the opportunities that exist in this program later on in the podcast. But Lisa, let's talk a little bit about history. First of all, is this AURI's first go-around with the AIC program? If so, what was the catalyst for AURI to take it on this year? And if not, could you share maybe some of the past history with the AIC program through USDA?
That's a great question, Dan. This is the first year that AURI is participating in the Ag Innovation Center for this award, but actually it was not the first time that we participated in the program. The program actually was created back in 2003, the Ag Innovation Demonstration Center program, grant program. And back then we were awarded $1 million for a center for producer-owned energy. So it was intended to support the bio-based renewable energy sector that at the time was really booming. And at that time, AURI was one of 10 nationwide recipients of the first round of those awards. But after that initial pilot, the program became dormant, and the legislation that created it continued to remain in place, but was unfunded. So the USDA resurrected that program after Congress appropriated dollars to it a few years ago. And since then, the program has been gaining some steam. So just in the past 2-3 years. The current award, we are one of 6 ag innovation centers across the United States. What the catalyst was for us applying to this, it was just a very natural fit for us in that there's very few federal programs that focus specifically on value added product innovations, or more specifically, that offer funding for service providers to support value added product innovations. Since AURI is all about value added innovations, it made sense for us to make that partnership through that program, partnering with USDA Rural Development.
And Lisa, am I correct? In most cases or all cases, USDA grant programs need to benefit the producer?
I would say USDA programs that are through rural development, I think most of those, yes, require benefit to the producers. There are other USDA divisions or agencies that have different perspectives, but many of the ones that are under rural development do have a direct connection with the producers.
Jen, I want to come back to you and to ask about those producer entrepreneurs who might participate in this AIC program. How are they going to benefit from that?
Producers that are looking to expand their operations to include value added agricultural products can work with AURI experts across our organization, which includes our business development team, as well as our scientists and strategy and project management groups. All of those services will be available to producers free of charge. We are also planning on offering a number of webinars and workshops on specific topics that will be of benefit to agricultural producers across the state and beyond. We plan on offering these opportunities to a wide footprint in terms of anyone who can access the internet can take part in our educational workshops and webinars. And that is really designed to help provide information, skills, and know how to agricultural producers who are taking on something new in their operation. We know that producers are experts when it comes to their farms and whatever product they're producing across, crops to livestock. But sometimes entering into the domain of marketing your products differently, direct to consumer, or even direct to other businesses in a different form can require a steep learning curve. So all of those offerings will be available to them free of charge.
Well, that's great news for them and for those who are going to participate. Just to be clear, though, AURI does have a fee for service business plan, but under this AIC program, you're going to offer this information and the service free. Is that right?
That's correct. We've been able to do the same sort of product offering and service offering through other grant programs as well. So it's not a new thing for AURI to offer free services to various businesses. We are a rural cooperative development center as well. So we've been able to offer our services free of charge to cooperatives through that program. So it's really adopting that opportunity to do the same thing for producers.
So, people listening today, and I'll open this to either of you to comment, they hear that AURI has been awarded a grant and that we're setting up a program through the AIC. Some people are going to be wondering how much financial assistance their organization can receive. What's your answer to that?
It's a good question, and I think it often comes up whenever they hear that we've received a grant. This grant really allowed us to expand our program offerings and service offerings to target audiences. The reason why we're not including any sort of cost share or subgrants as part of this program is that Minnesota already offers amazing programs through the Minnesota Department of Agriculture to support value added projects. So we feel the greatest need is in having experts that can work side by side with producers as they look to commercialize their products, but also as they look to leverage other funds that are available through other entities.
In some of our early remarks, I think I heard you mention 2 new additions to the AURI team. Obviously, some of this grant money will go to support those positions. Have you started the process of filling those needs?
Yeah, so I'm happy to report that we already have in place our market research analyst. That individual's name is Sanchez Philoclase, and he's been on staff now for about 3 months and is quickly learning the organization and getting to know the producers that we're supporting already through the center. We are also in the process of finalizing a new hire in the area of biomass business development. That position will be particularly focused on nutrient recovery, which can include anything from compost to renewable energy production through, let's say, biogas. Hoping to have that position ready to help producers in July.
Great. Well, I'm going to circle back, talk a little more about what projects you see might be coming down the pike, and also how somebody might get involved if they want to be considered for a project. But I want to remind our listeners today that you're listening to the Ag Innovation News podcast. And our guests today are Lisa Gjersvik and Jen Wagner-Lahr. Lisa is the Senior Director of Strategy Management at the Agricultural Utilization Research Institute, and Jen is the Senior Director of Business Development and Commercialization. We've got them on the podcast today because recently AURI was awarded a USDA Ag Innovation Center program grant, and we're trying to learn the ins and outs of the program, the grant, the purpose, and some hopefully planned outcomes from participating. So let me go back to the person or the organization that's going to participate in the AIC. Are there requirements for them to bring matching funds into the program?
There are no requirements for there to be any matching funds. They will just need to be responsible for, if they do product development work, they'll probably need to contribute raw materials that they'll be using in their products, for instance, but no cash type of contributions, no.
So Jen, that begs the question, are you creating a list now of AIC projects or / clients that you'd like to work with? If you are, is that list complete? What's that process like? How does somebody get involved?
We did not start our center with a predetermined list of producers that we were intending to serve as part of this program. We designed it in a way that we could react in real time to the needs of producers that are at that point of being more entrepreneurial and looking at how can they add value to their existing agricultural products. So we have a number of projects that are already in process that are receiving services from our organization, but we have capacity to take on many more. So as farmers are listening to this, or if there's listeners that know of farmers that are looking at this type of opportunity, we stand ready to be of assistance to them.
And we're going to get into how they can make that connection as well. So is the clock ticking? Is this opportunity coming to a close? Does the grant have to be used by a certain time? What are some of those parameters?
With this original funding opportunity, AURI's contract with the USDA is to provide these services for a 2-year period. Our program began operations on December 1 of last year, so we have a 2-year window starting with that date. We are hoping, as it's been made aware to us, that the USDA may have follow-on funding for the centers. So we are looking throughout the performance period of this grant to really look at what are the needs of producers going forward, should we apply for additional follow-on funding. A lot of the projects that we are taking on certainly don't have to last 2 years of the actual performance period. We always have projects that vary in length from 3-month projects to sometimes 6, 9, 12 months. So we see the capacity needs of the program in serving producers ebbing and flowing as different opportunities come up and as different producers reach out to us for services.
I know there's often non-disclosure agreements between AURI and the people that they're serving, but as you look at the people who are already getting services through the AIC, can you tell us anything about what they're working on without maybe naming names or locations, or what are you seeing coming forward so far?
That's a common question when it comes to AURI projects because we do certainly respect the confidentiality of some of these projects. Folks are looking at taking on a risk, and sometimes there's an opportunity to be first to the market, and we want to respect the privacy wishes of producers. That said, we always provide opportunities for producers to toot their own horn and try to cover them through news articles and other ways of really highlighting the innovations that they're bringing to the market. When we look at producers, often it falls into a couple different camps. So They may be looking at food products, so looking at taking their agricultural commodity and changing it into a food product that is higher value, can be sold anywhere from farmers market to even, retail in stores. So sometimes those products are going right to the consumer. Sometimes we're looking at products that are putting additional value into waste products. So we look at that co-product opportunity as a huge opportunity. And so as we look across the number of projects that we currently have on our books, and we're providing services to specific producers, they are falling into those two camps where they're either taking their primary product and looking at marketing it as a consumer product, or we're looking at adding value to their waste streams. So when it comes to adding value to waste streams, we're working on things such as fertilizers and composts, or adding value to oat hulls. In terms of more the finished product, we're looking at a number of fruit markets, meat markets, and then also grain and hemp.
So, given that most of the projects so far are falling into two categories, how many projects inside of the AIC do you think you could handle at AURI? Is there a limit?
That really depends upon our staff in terms of what they feel they can handle across all the other organizations that we're serving as part of our book of business. But I would anticipate that, we could serve throughout the performance period of this grant anywhere from 30 to 40 producers over the course of the 2 years. And that's with direct services for their specific product development needs and market development needs. When it comes to the webinars and workshops, obviously that number grows considerably. So we're able to reach larger audiences through a single touch point. Those webinars and workshops will, also be recorded and available on our website for consumption long after the dates that they were posted, or long after the performance period of this grant.
Interesting work here, I think, coming forward for AURI through this program. But now, given that you have started to serve some clients, are you thinking about diversity within the projects themselves? Will you be more focused on certain parts of the industry rather than others, or are you still keeping a pretty open mind to all potential projects?
We're open-minded in terms of all projects and all crops or livestock products. However, and you'll note that we've added an individual to focus on biomass feedstocks and nutrient recovery. We see a real need right now in the industry for this type of work, and would anticipate that a large book of business will be focused on that. The market research position is much more flexible in terms of the type of product that they will be working with. So they'll be able to span any number of crop and livestock products.
Somebody listening today thinks, I've been working on an idea, or I have this idea and this might be a good fit for me. How far along does it have to be? Who is a good fit for the AIC?
That's a good question. The number of services that we offer as part of the AIC really range from business and market development to product and process development, among others. So that accommodates, I would say, a wide swath of readiness in terms of a producer's where they might be in the commercialization process. Some of the services that my team provides on the business development side can really be of great service early on in the thinking process of, an ideation of what my product could potentially look like as a value-added agricultural product. Whereas, as you start to zero in on a particular value-added product, then you're going to need some of the services related to product and process development as you get more serious about that one thing that you're going to offer, or maybe a few things that you're going to offer, and then have to figure out, what does the investment need to look like in terms of on-farm processing and the like.
And I'm thinking you're taking them through some kind of a formulation to see how prepared they are to actually receive your services.
Yes, it usually begins with a conversation before any sort of application for services begins. Oftentimes, my team is frontline in terms of working through and understanding where a producer is in that process, and really determine how best to utilize the center's services. Sometimes they're not ready for, what AURI has to offer. And so a little bit of consultation on the front end and connecting with other resources in the industry can go a long way, and then get them to the point where they are ready to work through the number of things that AURI can provide in terms of services.
Lisa, I want to come back to you, get your thoughts on value added. I don't know if it was a part of the grant. I know it's part of AURI's mission, but how important is it that these companies that are coming forward now has a value added ag tie-in to the work that you're going to be considering under the AIC?
It's incredibly important. It's essential, really. In fact, without it, a company wouldn't really be eligible for this program. And truly, that's kind of an essential thing for getting assistance from AURI for developing a project with AURI as well. If somebody came to us looking for assistance and it wasn't a value-added ag tie-in, most likely we would point them in the direction where they could find assistance. But for us to develop any meaningful assistance, it would need to have the value-added tie-in for sure.
So the $1 million question for those listening, if they're interested about the AIC program, where can they get more information, or as Jen mentioned, have that first conversation or get the process started?
The best place that people could start is by visiting AURI's website, which is auri.org. And there you'll be able to find on its landing page, we have a banner that goes through. One of the banner items is the Ag Innovation Center grant link to take you to a portion of the website that relates to that. Or alternatively, you can look under access to AURI services on the menu, and under partnerships under there is a section specifically on the Ag Innovation Center program. And after getting sort of familiar with the overall purpose and specifics of the program, then folks probably will want to reach out to staff here. And we do have a first point of contact that we generally funnel many first contacts through, and that is with Ashley Hargeth. And she's a project manager, but she handles sort of the pipeline of incoming concepts or touch points so that she can direct them in the right place, whether it be staff or further information. You can call our main number, which is 218-281-7600, and just listen for Ashley Hargeth on the directory.
Well, I know because I had the opportunity to peek behind the curtain at AURI occasionally. I know that the AIC was a big deal to AURI. AURI saw an opportunity to do some good work through the USDA AIC program. And congratulations to you two and to AURI on getting the grant and putting it into implementation. I am going to, as we wrap up today, go once around the table and allow you to leave any parting thoughts about the program, about AURI, about the services that they are offering. And Lisa, we'll just start with you. And what would you like to leave our listeners with today?
I'm just excited to have this partnership with USDA and to actually build a stronger direct connection to producers. So that's an exciting opportunity for us. I'm excited to see where the program will continue to unfold. There are some potential changes that might be happening to the legislation that might broaden the scope a bit. So looking forward to seeing where that might take the program.
And Jen, what do you want to leave them with?
Well, I think Lisa's comments were great in terms of the partnership opportunity that this provides with USDA as well as producers. I'm excited that we're able to augment our existing suite of services with some additional service areas that are of great interest to producers. So I'm excited to see the products and projects that we'll be supporting as part of this center, and look forward to what will be coming down the pipeline.
Well, I want to thank you both for spending some time with us today and talking about the AIC program. I'm looking forward to hearing and reading more about some of these projects and proposals that come forward. And good luck going forward.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
We've been visiting today with Lisa Gjersvik and Jen Wagner-Lahr at AURI about their recently awarded USDA Ag Innovation Center program grant. I want to thank you for joining us today, and thank you for listening to the Ag Innovation News Podcast, presented by the Agricultural Utilization Research Institute of Minnesota. Thanks to our podcast crew, Eric Evans, the AURI Director of Communications, and Lisa Martinez, AURI Communications Coordinator and Editor of this production. To learn more about this program and other AURI programs, you can go to auri.org.